What's up, everyone? I'm DJ Hamilton, and you're tuned into the DJ Sports Show, where we give you the latest, greatest, and most exciting sports stories in the world of sports. From interviews to having people's stories heard and told. This is the DJ Sports Show. Let's get it! What's up, everyone? It's DJ Hamilton, DJ Sports Show. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like, subscribe button, and share anybody you know who loves sports. And if you listen to audio platforms, leave a 5-star rating. Share anybody you know who loves sports. We are here with my guy Dylan. We try to have Damani on, but he's busy, and Phil's busy as well. So it's just going to be the dynamic duo, like we had with the mock draft for both parts. We're going to talk just some latest offseason moves that's been happening in the NBA. We didn't get to talk about the KD trade or anything like that. We're just going to give our quick reactions. I had a few notes, but I didn't go too deep on them. I just want to give like our initial, just our opinions and stuff, really. Not too nitty gritty into the stats and stuff like that. We're going to talk about like the KD trade to the Rockets, LeBron opting into his player option, and then Lonzo Ball trade. Those are the three main ones I want to talk about. And if Dylan wants to bring up like one more, like Colin Sexton just getting traded to Charlotte Hornets, those are the four I really want to focus on. So let's get into it. So first, let's get into Kevin Durant trade to the Rockets. So this happened recently. Not too long ago, he got traded to the Rockets. Rockets received him, and when the Suns in return received 5 second-round picks. Kaman Maluwaj, the number 10 overall pick from Duke. Jahmai Mashak, the number 59 overall pick. Dylan Brooks, and Jalen Green. When this trade happened, I was like, okay, I like this trade for the Houston Rockets. I mean, Durant's leaving the Phoenix team. His tenure there was very disappointing. They were 36-46 last season, 11th in the Western Conference. And they also parted ways with Mike Budenholzer, who was their coach. It was a turbulent season in the Western Conference for them. Things were not going their way. And I was like, I didn't like his time in Phoenix. It was very disappointing. I kind of knew it was going to be because they didn't have a true point guard to lead them. But he now adds to a young Rockets nucleus led by Alperen Sengun, Amon Thompson, 52-30 last season. They had one of the best defenses in the league. They're coached by Ime Udoka, who's one of the best coaches, in my opinion, in the entire league. To me, they were one of the biggest surprises last year, being a second seed. And they didn't really have a go-to guy down the stretch that they can go to get a bucket when they're down 2 or down 1, and they can rely on consistently night in and night out. Now they got that in Kevin Durant. He's still under contract for over $54.7 million next season. He's entering the final year of his 4-year, $194.2 million contract that he signed back with the Brooklyn Nets. He's eligible for a 2-year extension beginning on July 6th, so we'll see if he signs that extension. And if he does, I think this is the place he's going to retire and call it a career. I just don't see him going anywhere else at this point. Rockets were 22nd in fourth quarter points last season when I searched it up on teamrankings.com. 17th in overtime points per game last season. So this is a team that really struggled when it was close games to close out games and win games. Their defense was great, but their offense, especially in the half court, struggled because they didn't have a lot of great shooters. Like you had Amon Thompson, who's a non-shooter out there. Sengun's not really an elite 3-point shooter. Jalen Green's hot and cold. But now you got a guy in Kevin Durant who consistently is one of the most efficient scorers. Most people call him the greatest scorer of all time, and I have no problem in calling that. He is efficient as they come. This guy's never averaged less than 20 points in his entire career. And he's entering his, 19th season? That is crazy. Even his rookie year, he averaged over 20. That is crazy. Y'all don't understand how great this guy is. He's Kevin Durant. Y'all know who he is.
Still KD.
For him, I feel like the Rocket is a perfect fit for him. I feel like this is a perfect opportunity. They didn't really give up a lot of their assets either. I was shocked when the trade happened. I saw the details. I didn't see Jabari Smith on there. I was like, oh, Jabari Smith's not in the trade. I was like, okay. And they kept Tari Eason, who I think is a terrific defender. They kept Cam Whitmore as well. So I was like, oh, they still have a lot. The only young guy they really gave up was Jalen Green. And that's it. So I felt like this is a great, and now they have the playoff experience. Now they have a guy, Kevin Durant, who brings championship experience, has been in big games, been on the Olympic stage multiple times. He knows what it's like to play in big environments, and adding him to a young nucleus, he could teach him some things and what it's like to play in big games, how to approach it. I think he's gonna lead by example. He's not really a verbal leader, as we've seen. Like he's a great player, but his intangibles kind of leave some to be questioned with, as we've seen throughout his career, especially since after Golden State. Like what went on in Brooklyn, that's what I'm worried about. Like Brooklyn, we could kind of say, is KD, quote unquote coach killer? Because when he went to Brooklyn, what happened to Steve Nash? He got the blame. That situation exploded. That was very toxic situation. Him, Kyrie, it was That was the biggest disappointment in NBA history, that big three. That was because when that big three formed, we all thought they were going to win multiple titles, the greatest offensive trio
Man.
we've ever seen, and they never made it past the second round, which is crazy. So, and then
I
they never made it
thought
past the second round. The farthest they went was the
in,
Game 7 in 2021 against the Bucks semifinals.
that was the semifinals. That wasn't the Eastern Conference Finals.
No, that was semifinals, second round. That was second round.
Because that's the year. Yeah. That's the year that the Hawks made it to Eastern Conference. Yeah,
KD's toe was on the line. Remember, KD's toe was on the line.
Yes,
so,
yes.
Yeah, his shoe size too damn big, man. KD, cut your feet off. Cut your toes off. And so, yeah, adding KD to a team like the Rockets, young, energetic, frenetic, they like to get out down transition, play hard, nose, physical defense. And, he's at an older stage of his career now, so he's not as defensively, impactful like he was during his Golden State prime years. So really, now he has young guys who can do that for him. He can just focus on scoring and buckets, being that go-to guy down the stretch when they're down one, when they're down two. Because now they have the guy. I think the Rockets are going to take a big jump next season. And we'll see. This team is maybe a potential finals contender. Now they have Kevin Durant on the roster, and they kept a lot of their assets. I was really shocked how they got KD, especially when not giving up Jabari Smith or Cam Whitmore in the package. So I think it was a great pickup and great trade for Kevin Durant and the Rockets.
Absolutely. I mean, you hit the nail on the head about with them having a need for someone like KD. The thing that I watched with the Rockets this year was that they have an incredibly talented starting five, and their bench depth goes all the way to the 12th guy. You know what I'm saying? But the thing that they were lacking was a fourth quarter closer. When the game's on the line, who do you go to? Yes, Fred VanVleet has championship experience and is a clutch player.
I forgot about him too. Yep.
But when you have a player at the level of Kevin Durant who is doing things that someone his age and someone coming off of, an Achilles injury, an ACL, should not be doing. He's putting up like 28, 7 and 5 or something like that on incredibly efficient shooting, like 49% from the field, 40 from 3, and like 80 over 80% from the
field for like his career.
Yeah, okay. He is not human. He is, and but the thing with KD, and I love KD, like a little very brief story. I remember the Olympic when they had like the Olympic blue and white scrimmage. This was in like 2010, and KD was coming through the tunnel, and he tried to give me an autograph, and the security was not budging, and he like got into a whole argument with the security guy. He's like, "Yo, like little man just want to get an autograph," and he was like, and the security guy was not budging, not letting him through, and he like looked at me and said, "Yo, I'm sorry, little dude." He's like, "But hey, man, I hope I run into you again." So hey, KD, if you watching this, man, if we ever run into each other, I gotta chop it with you. I gotta rap it with you. But the thing with KD that is tough, is frustrating, is that I've wanted him to be that number one leader. You know what I'm saying? That number one guy that, puts the team on his back and goes the distance. And it's just unfortunate that that's not played out in that way. But I do think that KD can be your number one scorer and be like your number one closer still at this point in his career. I think that's where he best shines. That's where he best excels. And, his abilities, you can't deny it. So for a team like the Rockets, who they're like right there from knocking on the door of being an elite team, and especially the older that they get, the more that their young guys, develop. They've got a great foundation moving forward. So I'm very excited to see what happens. I think that was a great trade for them. With Jalen Green, I was over here calling the young man Blasian Kobe, and I think that might have been a little too much expectation and pressure. I think Jalen Green still can be an all-star, and I think he'll figure things out in Phoenix, although I'm curious on, like, you have him, D-Book, Brad Beal.
No true point guard. None of them are natural instinct playmakers.
Yeah. So it's
that's like when KD was there. When the Chris Paul trade happened initially, when that happened like 2023 or something, I immediately said this is a bad trade. I said on my podcast 2 years, I said, bro, this is not going to go well. I immediately called it
No,
out. I didn't fit. I
because
knew right away. And look what
because
happened.
when you don't have someone who can get everyone the ball, when you don't have someone who can set up the offense, and it's just kind
Yeah.
of like oh, okay, he go cook, he go cook, he gonna cook, he gonna cook. If it's
Who's going
that,
to facilitate, though? Who's going to make all this better? Who's going to set guys up?
right, that's cool and all. But what happens if all three of y'all ain't shooting well, and there's no spacing, there's no movement, there's not that constant player who's able to, you know, general and be the the guiding light in that time. So I think that for KD, this is a perfect situation for him. For Jalen Green, I think this will be a wake up call, and hopefully he makes the most of this opportunity and he's able to ball out. And if not, he can, there'll be other teams that are going to call. He's. I don't believe that we've seen the best from him, and I don't think that teams are going to be done seeing potentially what his ceiling could be. So it just, he got to focus on hoops most importantly. And I saw something he just got asked. He was like, I got to figure out where to get my nails painted. It's like, bro, I'm like, I hate to sound like an old head. I hate to sound like an old head, but I am getting older. So this is moments where I'm like, bro, like, what does that have to do with basketball? Like, come on, gang. Like,
I'm
you
not that
need to
much
be.
older than Jalen Green. I'm like 2 years older only. That's it. I'm
Man,
not that much older. He's my generation.
I'm like, come on, fam. This is not.
Well, bro,
This
you
is
should
why.
focus on getting your mid range right, your efficiency right, bro.
Right. Like you need to be over here. They need to be hearing you saying, "Hey, man, I'm gonna be in the gym all day and every day." But I digress. You know what I'm saying? He's got to figure things out in his own time, and there's not going to be as much pressure in Phoenix. So I think that will be good for him. I think that he can shine there, get his confidence, right. And hopefully that turns into more, because I still think Jalen Green's talent is undeniable. I think he's very talented naturally, and he put in the work. But he just gotta keep staying focused on ball, and like you said, work on that efficiency, because you can't be having games where you got 40 and then you got 5, 32 and then you got 12. You
He's
need
like I call him.
consistency.
I feel like he's the new age J.R. Smith. Like hot one game or 2, 3 games, and then the next game he
Oof.
goes like 5 games single. Like in the playoffs, he has single digit games. I'm like, bro, you were a second overall pick. You're too talented to be going single digits, man. Like what's going on?
Exactly. They're looking at you to be the face
Like
of the
come on, man.
franchise. So
Yeah.
I think
Like
this
come on,
trade
man.
I think this trade works out for both of them, but I'm gonna lean towards the Rockets, especially because they were able to hold on to their core, and they didn't have to move
This will
anybody.
help them in the short term because KD's age.
Yes, and ultimately, if they win a ring in the short term with KD, that's going to benefit the core in the long term, because they then build winning pedigree and experience. They're able to use that as a way to move forward. So I'm excited to see what the Rockets do. I think right now, obviously OKC is the defending champions. After that, it's wide open. So with the Rockets, they just got to show improve. I love Coach Udoka. I love Coach Mazzulla, but Coach Udoka had a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
Wish he was able to remain in Boston.
He toughened them
But
up. He toughened them up.
he did. That was the thing. That was the biggest issue, was that
And he did
they
that same
lacked
thing with the
that
Rockets this
backbone.
past season. Yeah, he did the
They
same
lacked
thing.
they lacked the backbone needed, and he brought in a different energy, and that's just the type of coach he is. And for a young team, you need a coach like that. You can't have someone who's going to be, you know, trying to be your friend. That just doesn't work.
Exactly. Before we go to the next topic, what's your prediction for the Rockets next season?
Good question. Okay. Fully healthy, I think they can flirt around.
How's the farthest you see them going?
It's not crazy to say they could go all the way. I don't think so. They could go all the
And
way
win
if
it,
they
right?
stay fully healthy, and yeah,
Ooh, I
they
like
could.
that.
I
Okay.
think I really do think that there is more than enough talent for them to do that. They've got the defense, they've got the offense. KD has played with some talented teams before. I think this is the greatest bulk of talent he's played with. You know what I'm saying? As much as insane as the 2017 and 2018 Warriors teams were, you know, if if the Rockets to me are deeper. Not better, but they're deeper. So if the talent maximizes and they're all clicking on the same cylinders, then I really and wholeheartedly believe that this team can win a championship. However, what will if they don't, it will be because guys regress, guys don't level up to the expectation that's been placed onto them, and if there's injuries, because that's another thing too. I think that's also going to be something to monitor. Guys like Van Fleet, Jabari, obviously KD. They've had some injury concerns, so that's something to take heed and take credence to. And also there might be too many chefs and not enough cooks. That could also be a possibility. But I think that for the most part though, the team is set up for everybody to be able to fill their role and play their job as best as possible. So I think that potentially they could win I think they could win it all very
For
easily.
me, I'm gonna say conference finals. I just think OKC is gonna get better. I mean, OKC wasn't even fully there. Chet's ain't fully even nowhere where he's gonna be. You saw him struggling in the finals, getting pushed around, all that. And they still won. J-Dub's gonna get better. Shea's gonna do his thing. He can still improve his 3-point shooting. He can still get better. Like
Mm-hmm.
OKC ain't going nowhere. They're keeping. They still have their guys coming back next season.
Oh yeah,
I still
no.
have them coming. The West's gonna be tough. And one thing I'm worried about is I love KD, but he's like a volatile stock. It's like he's very mercurial, very erratic, moody. He's a moody dude, man.
Look,
He be on Twitter, when things
I
don't
can
go
relate.
well. I'm
Yo,
gonna be like Houston, we have a problem.
I can
Like
relate,
Houston,
man.
I'm gonna
I can
say it.
relate.
Houston,
That's
we have a
that's
problem.
kind of why.
To
That's why I
be
love
respected
KD.
on it.
I can directly relate onto that, like for my own self. So I can relate. But yes, that is something to take into
I'm about to be
consideration.
like I forgot who says that famous line. Houston, we have a problem. I'm about to be like the announcer when and Houston ain't going right. Houston, we have a problem.
I think like
Yo,
OKC. I think
dude,
the
he's talking
thing
about
with
his burner
OKC.
account coming at people.
I think the thing with OKC is that they, they're trying to build themselves into a well-oiled machine, and I think that's just where they're they're still young enough where a team can find the cracks in the scene.
Hmm.
They can find their weaknesses, but you have to strike it now because they're only going to get better. Like you said,
Yeah, like
they
2 years from
course
now.
young.
Oof. Good
Yeah,
luck.
3 years, right? So that's why like it's opportune that Houston this year,
Capitalize.
pushes, yeah, capitalize as much as possible, and I think it'd be a great playoff series. It would be a dream come true as far as a
Great.
playoff
Yeah.
series, and just thinking about like KD going back to OKC to his stomping grounds. There's a lot that's at stake, but I'm excited. So yeah, I definitely think OKC is going to be the number one seed, but I think Houston could definitely be a title.
It's his best chance to win a title probably since they had the Nets with him and Harden and Kyrie. Probably his
And I
best
think
chance, but
I think it's
the
an
top
even
end
better
talent of that
chance.
team was better, but I feel like the overall pieces, overall the roster constructed, and the coach is the best fit he's had since Golden State. I just feel like the
100%.
defenders around him, the athleticism, the youth. He's playing with the best passing big he's ever played with now in Şengün. He never played with a passing big like to this level. With Şengün, he's about to play with now. He's probably the second best passing big in the league behind Jokic. It's either him or Sabonis.
I'm
Everyone,
not
I'll
mad
give
at
it to
that.
Şengün
Yeah.
because he's like a Jokic, but
They all
crazy.
can pass the ball really well. So yeah, I think that this like you just said, like this is his best chance of a title. And I
Yeah,
agree. And I think that's what he's kind of just realized, like, look, I'm not getting younger. I have to maximize my time, my health.
yeah.
And I think Houston has enough pieces right now. They showed promise. And unfortunately, last year age was used against them, you know what I'm saying? But they're older. They've they've definitely been sitting and watching that film from that Warriors series and seeing, okay, like how at the point of attack did they beat this matchup or that matchup. But you throw KD into there now, and you still kept most of your core. The sky's the limit. So I'm very excited to see what they do.
Very true. So yeah, next thing is LeBron decided to exercise his player option and remain with the Lakers, 52.6 million for next season. His agent and Clutch Sports CEO Rich Paul told ESPN today, as we record this on Sunday. So we already know his contract includes a no trade clause. He's only one of two players in the league with no trade clause. It's him and Bradley Beal.
I was about to say, yeah, shout out to Bradley Beal. Shout out to his agent.
Yeah, shout out to him. But once that contract ends, that ain't happening again. So, yeah, James, he now has 1 year left on his deal. We'll see. I know I know he mentioned how the Lakers, like, yes, he knows he wants to win, and Lakers are doing what they can to win, but he also is, aware that his time isn't at end. Like, he's self-aware, and that they're trying to build for the future as well. Like, Luka's there. So, but he does want to continue to try to win championships, and yeah, LeBron last year, his season, bro, 40, made the All NBA team. I think he was the first player in NBA history to make All NBA team at 40 years old.
At 40, yeah.
This dude is cyborg. He averaged 24 and a half, over 8 assists, and he had 8 rebounds per game. This guy, and he had a 20-year streak of 25 or more points per game for 2 decades, and that streak ended last year. This guy is insane. Like, this, I can see why. There was I was thinking this coming season was going to be his last season, but it might be 2 years from now when maybe his son Bryce comes in the league and then he wants to play with his other son, or play against him, and then he'll finally retire. Because I think he's retiring within the next 2 years.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't think he's playing 3 more. It's like, all right, that's like LeBron. It's time for the next generation. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and you can already tell he's slowing down. He's still good, but he's not what he was defensively or as athletic. He's still athletic, but not nowhere near what he was in his prime, or even like 2020, like that. So LeBron exercised his player option, I think, and now this new ownership is going to be different changes. The Buss family, they're not majority owners anymore. They gave it to, I forgot his name, Mark Walters, I think was his name. I think that was his
Dodgers. Name. The Dodgers.
Yeah, the Dodgers owner. So he is now the owner of the team. So it's going to be some changes now. They're going to make it more professional.
Yep, Mark Walter.
Yeah, Mark Walter. Yeah, I knew I was right. And then he's going to try to build around Luka Doncic. He knows Luka Doncic is the future of this team for the next decade plus. But those pieces, the Lakers still need a center. There's some centers on the market right now this year. I mean, Brook Lopez. I'm looking at Spoketrack.com right now. Free agents who are centers this year. Yeah, Brook Lopez, Clint Capella. Clint Capella's been a lot of Laker talk. You have Al Horford. I don't think he's gonna resign back to the Celtics. I think he goes back to the Celtics. Moritz Wagner. I think he goes back to the Magic. Miles Turner. He's going back to the Pacers. I don't see him leaving. You guys just made it to the finals. So really, he's gonna have to probably get straight pieces.
Also too, shout out to Miles Turner, but he did not have a good NBA Finals, so I don't think his stock and value is going to be. He's not going to have a lot of asking room. Yeah, he's not going to have a lot of asking power to push for a contract with other teams. So I think he's just be smart, just stay with Philly. I mean, stay with Indy because they had you here for all that time, and y'all just made a Finals, so might as well.
You even have Thomas Bryant on the free agent market, and you can get him at a low price. So on the Lakers, I'm aiming at that.
Rochester he's 27. Native.
He's a good rebounder. Gives energy. He's a guy who's 6'10", 6'11", can block some shots. You just need a big guy down there, tall, can run the floor, throw lobs too for Luka. I feel like he's a great guy, especially if we can't get like Nick Claxton from the Brooklyn Nets. If you can't get him in a trade package or something, I feel like that's a perfect guy to get. And it sucks that Mark Williams didn't work out because that would have been perfect for Luka. That was one of the most explosive bigs in the league. He's kind of like the modern day DeAndre Jordan.
I think he's
new era. I think new age.
And I think he's going to be even better. I think he's going to be even better than DeAndre. Like, his ceiling is incredibly high. I mean, like, his numbers are really surpassing what, like, DeAndre put up at his peak. So, I mean, I'm biased as a new guy, but I think Mark is going to be an all-star center very soon. And I think he's somebody someone that the Hornets shouldn't have never even talked about trading. I was insulted for him. Like,
we're going to get into the Hornets a little bit because I don't know what they're doing, bro.
Like, why would you throw one of your most promising young players on the trade market in the first place? But that's them as the Hornets. So it is what it is. But no, they're definitely their biggest issue is they need a big, and they need to. I don't think that they're done in trying to get like another star that can pair next to Luca. Now they're not gonna. I don't ever see them getting bad enough to finish with a top pick, but I could see them trying to trade into this upcoming draft and see if they can, swing for the fences to get an an AJ Devance, a Cade Boozer, a Cam Boozer. Shout out to Cade though too. But Cam Boozer, a Darren Peterson. Like I could see them swinging for the fences. I just think like at this point you have nothing to lose if you're LA. But they also still have the allure of being LA. They still have people who want to play for the Lakers because of the name and the brand alone. So, perhaps they got another trick and they got another trade up their sleeve. But LeBron is not at a stage of his career where, he's going to be able to, carry the same way and be the number one guy the same way. He's slowed down. He's 40. He's still playing at a high level. But he's not what he was in 2018. He's not what he was in 2016, or he's not what he was in 2012, or but just keep going back in the dates. He's just not at that stage anymore. So, but I think him next to Luka, the better in shape that Luka gets, the more effort and ability that Luka improves defensively. That's going to pay dividends for LA because that's his weakness right now.
Definitely. The next thing I want to talk about is the Lonzo Ball trade. So he got traded from Chicago Bulls upright, just him and Isaac Okoro. Lonzo Ball's on the Cleveland Cavaliers, and Isaac Okoro, small forward from the Cavs, going to the Chicago Bulls. And I saw that trade. I'm like, does it make sense? I'm like, I can get it. When you think about it, Darius Garland has his toe injury. He's going to miss the start of the season. So they need a backup point guard who can run and facilitate the offense right away. Lonzo Ball, I know he's had his injuries through the years, but when he's healthy, he's shown he could run an offense, facilitate, set guys up, make plays easier, especially for guys like Evan Mobley's going to be playing with now. Throw lobs to him, set him up easily. Jared Allen as well. Take playmaking duties off of Donovan Mitchell as well. And then he also gives them more point guard depth behind Garland, especially once he does come back healthy. And you have Ty Jerome, who's going to be an unrestricted free agent, so they might be losing him. So you don't know if he's coming back.
I was just about to bring
Ty Jerome. So they have reassurance now. They have that extra backup insurance in case he ends up walking and going somewhere else. Because they're ready over the second apron. This is a team that's ready over the second apron. And even though Lonzo Ball's contract is less, $10 million, when I'm looking at him now, he's less in salary than Isaac Okoro's, but Cavaliers will still take on his $10 million salary and plus a $10 million team option for the next season. So they're still over the second apron regardless of Lonzo Ball. And this is a guy, remember, he missed 2 years. He had cartilage, he had a repair in his meniscus and knee. This guy missed the 2023-24 season and 2022-23. So I'm kind of worried, like, long-term, because now you're not just playing on a Chicago Bull team that was either missing the playoffs or only vying for the play-in to barely get into the playoffs. You were playing to April. Now you're on a title contending team who's trying to push to get into May, June, and win the title. Like, deep playoff runs. I want to know, how is your body going to be able to handle that adjustment? That's the biggest. Like, I'm worried about that, especially when you miss 2 full years of basketball, the serious cartilage issues with your knees and stuff. I'm really worried about that. And now that you're going to be playing on a real contender, that's going to be playing deeper into the season. And that's what I want to see how that plays out. But I think he's a good fit for the Cavaliers. But Cavaliers, I know why to give Okoro. He was kind of expendable. I know he's a good defender, like solid defender. But when you have a defensive player of the year and Evan Mobley in that backline with Jared Allen to protect the rim and make up for your defensive lapses and mistakes, to cover up and make up for a lot of them, you can kind of give up a guy like Okoro because you have those 2 guys behind you. If you had a weak defensive front court, okay, I would not give him up. But when you have a defensive player of the year in Evan Mobley and you have Jared Allen, another really good rim protector, you can take that risk. You can take that.
For sure. It's 2 things that I take away from it. One, the last season that Lonzo was like playing a a lot of games, and consistently, the Bulls were a title contender. You know what I'm saying? The Bulls were looked at as the team that was going to be coming out the East, that were going to be having that type of impact, potentially winning the finals. And Lonzo was playing lights out. You know, he was absolutely looking like the player that he was drafted to be when LA drafted him number 2. And I do believe that with Lonzo, I think he can still tap into that. I think it's too soon to declare that it's not going to happen, that's over. You know, until it's over, it's not over. That's how I look at it. Number 2, you know, with the Cavs, Ty Jerome, they're likely going to lose. I mean, it's a good chance. So you get another guy. You can get a guy who can distribute, is a better defender than Donovan Mitchell. Because I love Donovan Mitchell, but he's not much of a defensive threat.
Yeah, he's not.
And you get someone who can run the offense. So you solve like 3 different needs of yours with this move. And then also, what was I going to say? With Okoro, a guy like him is expendable because he never played to his status of being a top 5 draft pick. And after a while, teams have to ask themselves, okay,
Especially in a week. I mean, it was a weak draft too. 2020. We knew that was not going to be a good class. We knew that was going to be a good class.
But I mean, look, but that class,
I know what you mean.
That class did have some guys, and when you're not
Tyrese
playing,
Halliburton went after him.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was LaMelo and Halliburton.
LaMelo and that class, Halliburton.
Tyrese
Maxey.
And Tyrese
Maxey.
All-Stars. But a guy like Devin Vassell was a great pickup for the Spurs in that draft. And he wasn't picked. He was picked in the lottery. So it's like when you see that there's other guys that are playing well and shining, it's going to make a team go, okay, like we've been patient. We've been trying to see what you can accomplish and do, and you've not taken that leap. So we just got to go elsewhere. But I think Okoro's a solid defender. I think that will be he'll be a good fit for Chicago, adding more defense on their wings and more athleticism. And maybe he has a breakout. You just don't know. There's a lot of uncertainty, but with Cleveland, I had to stretch. But with Cleveland, they're trying to show and prove that last year wasn't just a fluke, and that they're able to fully cement and entrench themselves as a top team in the East and the NBA. And I feel like Zoe can go there with not much pressure and expectation for him, versus the rest of the team. And I think he can play well in that offense. I think that he can be great next to Mitchell, and then great once Darius Garland does come back. And then, from there, bounce to another team where he can really be the starter. I mean, unless Darius Garland falls off a cliff, he's the starting point guard in the future. So, and I know Lonzo still wants to be the starter. Who wouldn't? So, but in the meantime, I think this will be a great exhibition for him to show to the rest of the NBA world that I still got it. I'm still that guy that was picked number 2 in 2017 by the Lakers and was an All-American first team in college basketball. Had one of the best freshman years for a point guard ever.
I thought he was the next Jason Kidd, bro.
I did too, man. Look, and I think there still is a chance for him to reach that ceiling. It's just he's had injuries. But the fact that he changed his whole jump shot form in the NBA, that goes to show he's someone that he's been wired to work. And I mean, shout out to LeVar Ball, the GOAT sports dad. You know what I'm saying? He got 2 sons to the NBA, got another one, a record contract. I mean, look, a lot of fathers can't say that. Big baller brand.
Shout out to big baller brand.
Hey, look, I got my hoodie. Yeah, I'm a believer of big baller brand. I'm trying to build my own big baller brand one of these days. Stay tuned. So, I got to salute. Hey,
you like LeVar Ball in some ways.
I take that. That is one of the best compliments I can get. Like when I meet LeVar Ball, like that's gonna be like That's gonna be like the crossover episode that the world needed. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. I'm gonna manifest that. But no, like I really do feel like Lonzo. Like I love LaMelo. His game. He plays how I'd play if I was a 6'6" point guard. But I love Lonzo as a pure point guard myself, like as a guy who was a floor distributor, a guy who was as a guy who was an initiator when I played ball, when I was coming up. Lonzo plays a lot. There's a lot of similarity as well, and just being that floor general. So I think that for Cleveland, that's going to help them a lot because it'll open things up for Mobley. It'll open things up for DeAndre Hunter. Even it'll open things up for Jared Allen. So it's just there's a lot of possibility there. So I like the move. I like the move for Cleveland, and I think they won the trade personally.
Mm-hmm. So the next thing we're going to talk about. Oh, and what was I going to say before we go next topic? It's Lonzo Ball with the Cavs. Does he help them become title contenders, especially when Darius Garland comes back healthy? Are they? Because now the East is going to be weak.
This might be my big baller brand bias, but yes, I think he can be that type of piece, especially because they needed more defense on the perimeter. They needed more size in their backcourt because I got love.
Yeah, Donovan Mitchell's like 6'2", and Darius Garland's like 6'1".
Yeah,
that's short in NBA nowadays.
That's not going to cut it. So you get a 6'6", pushing 6'7" guy in Lonzo. That's perfect. That's perfect. He also can play defense. He can stretch the floor. As a 3-point shooter, his 3-point shot has become a weapon, and he's able to still be that floor general, floor distributor. So I think that he can. I think, and like you said, the East is wide open. So I think that the Cavs could be the number 1 seed again. It just comes down to their focus and not mentally being weighed down about what just previously happened this past year.
I'm telling you right now, if the Cavs don't win it next year, they're going to blow it up. They're going to do something.
Oh, you have to. At that
trading Jared Allen or somebody, or Darius Garland, they're doing something next year. If they don't,
Well,
if they don't win next year in a week, they got to at least get to the finals. If you don't win it, okay, but at least you got to get to the finals.
I'll say this. There's already enough talk now about
if you lose to OKC, okay, I can understand that. OKC is that much of a powerhouse. But if you got to at least get to the finals, bro. You're like, come on. Like, especially next year, the East is going to be so weak, bro. There's no excuse.
There's enough talk about Jared Allen and Darius Garland potentially being moved anyway. So,
yeah, one of those two are getting moved.
So I think that this year is going to be a big year for the Cavs, and I think that Zoe is a type of signing. I mean, a type of acquisition where it doesn't seem like it on paper. Doesn't seem like it just given like, okay, but like what does that mean for the team? But I think it's going to help, and I think that they could also make a finals run if everyone stays healthy and mentally sharp. Because I think that was the thing that I really peeped in the Pacers series, was that they mentally lost that series. As much as they lost it on the court, they lost it mentally. You could just see that the Pacers had mind control on them. So getting a guy like Zoe, who is a very cool and calm, composed player under pressure, I think that was the right move.
Very stoic. He's very stoic, man. He doesn't show a lot of emotion.
No,
what it is.
Doesn't really talk. I mean, he's doing great. He's doing great himself with his podcast, but he doesn't really talk much on the court. So I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah. So the next thing we can talk about is the Jazz trading Colin Sexton to the Hornets. We can just quickly go through this. For Jusuf Nurkic and a second-round pick, the Hornets get those Sexton and 2030 second-round pick, and the Jazz get Jusuf Nurkic. I think this is a dumb trade for both teams. I'm going to be honest. But Sexton, 7-year veteran, 18.5 points and 4 assists per game. His best NBA season was in the first part of the decade, 2020-21. We averaged 24 and 4.5 assists with the Cavaliers. The Jazz, they drafted Walter Clayton in the first round, so I guess that was their Sexton replacement. And a guy, Walter Clayton, who can get buckets, smaller guard, can handle the rock, play make. So they said, "Oh, Sexton, you know what? We're going to go younger. We're gonna keep this guy who's a few years younger than you, and he's cheaper. We're going to get rid of you so we can save some money off the salary cap." I think this was kind of a salary dump move, and just a younger guard. And then Nurkic now, he is on the Jazz. He was acquired in the trade with the Suns last year. His full market return with the Utah Jazz. He played in 26 games and averaged 9.2 points for Charlotte last season. First, I'm gonna start with the Hornets. What are y'all doing? Yeah, Wi-Fi issues at the. Sorry, y'all, but yeah, with the. I was saying before I got rudely interrupted is the Jazz for the Hornets. I don't know what the hell they're doing, and like you're getting rid of all your big men. You traded away Mark Colin, you traded away Jusuf Nurkic. Who else you have left? You have Brandon Miller playing center, 6'8", 215, soaking wet. Like he's gonna get bullied. Like when you have a team that has a star big man, when you can have a 1B now who's 245, he's putting on weight. You have Jokic, Embiid. Like when you're playing against teams with star big men, you're gonna get punished. I don't know how y'all expect to win games when you have no interior presence. You guys are just accumulating all these guards. Like, what do you need Sexton for? It makes no sense to me. It just makes no sense. You just drafted Colin Knippel too. Like what are we doing? What are LaMelo Ball? You need to get out of there. LaMelo Ball, you need to get out of there.
Yeah,
You need to get out of there.
It's time. It's funny because
You need to get out of there.
I was on Phil and I was on pod with Phil and Tyrell, and I was like, this is prior to the draft stuff. I was like, maybe Charlotte can put something nice together. They keep their core, they build from that, and with the East being open, they maximize and they can go on a good playoff run. That will be good for their momentum, good for their morale. I don't see that happening.
Bro, I'm looking at the roster now. It looks disgusting. Bro, their guards, bro. LaMelo, we know he's the franchise. He's the star. But
yeah, bro. Outside
he's the star. But when I'm looking at it now, bro,
Miller,
the guards you got Seth Curry there. Okay, he's solid. But bro, you have Conker Nipple there, who plays small. They have him at small forward. He's 6'6". I guess he plays forward, but he's gonna be a shooting guard too. Trey Mann is there. He's pretty solid. And then you have who else is a guard? They have Damian Ball as a guard. Shout out to him. I covered him with Westchester Knicks. Shout out to him. Damian Ball got a contract now in the NBA, doing his thing. Shout out to him, man. He saw my story before when I tagged him. He posted it. Shout out to him. He a real one. Shout out to him, man.
Full circle. Look, hey man, look. Here's the silver lining. The Hornets might be bad enough. You can get some free tickets.
Nick Smith Jr. from 2 years ago is on this team too. Like, and then they have other guys who are.
I actually like Nick Smith a lot.
So I'm like, why you need more guards for it, bro? And then you trade away Nurkic, so he's not on this roster anymore. And I'm looking at they drafted Ryan Kalkbrenner from Creighton from Big East. I got to talk to him. Shout out to Ryan, making your NBA dreams come true.
I like Ryan.
But other than him now, he's the only real center. I'm looking at the roster right now. I'm like, they're gonna have to sign somebody because I know Ryan is tall. He's 7'4", but you're gonna need more than one center. Come on now.
I don't get the move either, but the way I look at it is they're probably just like, hey, let's try to tank.
They're trying to play a fast-paced type of style, probably push the pace, get on transition. Yeah, that's what it's looking like.
But I also think I think they're probably like, hey, let's tank. 2026 draft is great.
Another year tanking. When the East is gonna be so bad outside like the top 3. You could try to vie for a play in the play spot. I'm just saying. It's gonna be so bad next year, bro. How do you mean tank? If I'm LaMelo Ball, I'm tired of losing, bro. Like I want to win at some point. I gotta make the playoffs. I need some playoff experience. I'm in year 6 now. Like, see, time goes time. Bro, he's only 20. He's still young. 20. He'll be 24. But you saw, like, time goes quick, man. Remember when he was 19, he just came in the league. Now you're already 24, bro. Stop wasting time, man. I ain't thinking of tanking next year. I'm thinking of trying to make the playoffs. The East is going to be ridiculously trash.
I don't think they want to tank per se, but I think that they're going to be open to the idea. I think that they're going to be a lot more open to it than.
And we see when they tank, like some of these teams tank, like the Utah Jazz, they didn't even get a top 3 pick, so it's not even guaranteed. So if I'm them, we saw the Mavericks get the top pick, and they had a 1.8% chance of getting it. So I wouldn't be putting too much stock into tanking. So if I'm them, I'm trying to at least make the postseason. I mean, in the East Conference this year, I think with all the injuries and how watered down the East is going to be, I think this is the year you try to make at least a top 7, 8 seed in the East.
I think every
Something
team
you
right
got
now in
to.
the East has to. Yeah, but with their team, I just don't. I don't
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie with the makeup of their parts with the team, right? Unless Brandon Miller takes an all-star leap and LaMelo stays healthy the whole season, maybe they
Which
have a
that could
chance.
happen. That could
But they
happen.
got to get a
Could
big
happen.
man. They can't go with just a rookie big man, Ryan Kalkbrenner. You know, I love
No,
Ryan, but
that's too much pressure on him.
it's too much on one day for a rookie to have those type
Mhm.
of expectations. You need a starting veteran quality big. And I don't know
Yeah,
why y'all got rid of Mark Williams. If you would have kept him, you
I'm
guys could
like
have been
you.
an exciting young team.
I'm like you had
Crazy.
your veteran big. I mean, crazy to call
And
him a
you
veteran,
just trade.
but just he's more
Yeah.
experienced. But yeah, so yeah, overall, I think that they're looking at it. They're trying to find a way to make sense of it, even though it doesn't make much sense. But hopefully, what they later on realize is that you know it's all about how you it's all about how you build assets. And they did they acquire any picks in this draft? I mean, in this trade?
It was the Hornets.
Yeah. Or they just was it just a
2030
direct
second
trade?
round pick. So it's not even like a first round, just a second round pick, man. Second round picks aren't as valuable as first round picks.
In 4 years,
It's
yeah.
rare to get a
That's
Jokic or
that's
Draymond, and
no, that's a
or
bad.
Manu
That doesn't make
Ginobili.
any
Like it's
sense.
rare.
I mean, I'll say this: Sexton will be exciting. I love Colin Sexton's game, class 17 guy. You know, me and him the same age, so I'm rooting. I'm always rooting for Colin Sexton. But yeah, the Hornets, they're just that's them as a franchise. There are
This
things
is
that I
why
know
they're
about
always in
them internally.
purgatory.
Yeah, there are things I know about them internally, but I'm not gonna go that route. But yeah, they
He said
definitely
that's about my pay grade.
just a little bit right now. You know what I'm saying? Things will change one day, um but let's just say that yes, purgatory is something that they seem to thrive and be at a lot. So can't really do much. Can't really do much. But hey, that's on them. But yeah, I think overall, it's just one of those things where, oh, okay, it happened, but it's not a trade that we're going to be looking at as a big difference maker for either team, personally.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think this helps either team. I think this is a bad trade for both teams, to be honest. So, and
Yeah,
then
I agree.
for you, and then for Utah, you get Nurkic, but you have a young team. I feel like that could push the pace, and I don't know if he fits their
Yeah,
like their play style. I think they're gonna play. I don't know. And you have Walker
yeah.
Kessler, who's there, who's a good young big man. He could be probably if it wasn't for Wemby,
Walker,
he'd probably be running for Defense Player of the Year for
Kyle.
years to come. All right, so the last thing I wanted to talk about was Julius Randle getting extended from the Timberwolves for 3 years, $100 million contract extension. I'll keep him with them through the 2027-28 season. It was the final year of the deal, as will be at Randle's option, and if his exercise could push the total value of the contract to $100 million. It was reported today on NBA.com. And Julius Randle is known for being a double machine. He did have a $30.9 million player option for this upcoming season, and he could have been an unrestricted free agent in 2026, which is looking like a better class free agency wise than this player's class. He averaged 18.7 points, 7.1 rebounds per game this past season. His first season with the Timberwolves after being in that trade with Karl-Anthony Towns prior to last season. He was 5 years with the Knicks. He's a 3-time All-Star, someone who's basically been almost a double-double machine for his career, 19-9 in 11 seasons with teams such as the Knicks, Pelicans, Timberwolves, and Lakers. We kind of saw a shift in him last year. Like, he wasn't really known for being a playoff performer, but then last year he really came up big in big games, performed really well as a second option behind Anthony Edwards to help the Timberwolves make the conference finals for the second consecutive year and the second time in franchise history. He was a big part of their conference finals run. And I didn't see them as a team that could make the conference finals, but he really shocked me with his play. And I think he was well deserving of this extension. And as a Timberwolves team, I know Anthony Edwards, they're hungry to try to get past the conference finals, losing back-to-back years to conference finals. They're tired of getting there and not reaching the finals. And I know Julius Randle, if he plays like how he did this year in the future going forward, or even better, and they can get like another go-to second option or a third option guy, this team could be really dangerous down the line, man. I think this team, if they can get another guy, like a third consistent guy or a second guy, and move Randle to the number 3 option, this team is going to be dangerous. I think this team, if once they get that type of guy, or maybe hopefully at the point guard position or something, or a big man who can score and defend the rim, because Rudy Gobert can defend the rim but can't score. They can get one of those, or a legit point guard who could be a two-way threat and can facilitate and take off the ball handling duty of Anthony Edwards, have to exert so much energy as a playmaker when he's really a natural scorer and bucket getter. That will take them to the next level. But yeah, and Randle, he did deserve this after his playoff performance. I knew his value was rising as the playoffs were going because how he was playing, and I think this was an indicator of how much your value can rise based on your playoff performance, and this is one of them.
Looking at the Timberwolves, right? Because you mentioned the point guard thing. There was a rumor floating around that they were in the market for Lonzo Ball. I think Lonzo would have fit perfectly.
Oh, he would have fit. That would have been perfect.
It would have been.
Oh, they're too late now.
Loved it. It's too late now. But with Randle, you know who Julius Randle is as a player at this point in his career. But Julius Randle had a really good playoffs this year. I think there was a lot of question and speculation and doubt given that, okay, you're going from Cat to him. What is the the play level going to be like? And obviously there was bumps and bruises and he's not better than Cat, but Julius Randle's a very good player in my opinion. And I think that for Minnesota, I mean, they've made back-to-back Western Conference Finals. There's a recipe for success. I think as long as they keep building with that core, add a few more pieces, then I think they'll be all right. And I'm interested to see how, a guy like Rob Dillingham, how he steps up, how he gets opportunity to prove himself. But with Randle, he had some really good games, and there were some games where he played better than Anthony Edwards. So I think that that's a good move for them. And you keep the foundation that got you your previous success.
Exactly. Keep the main thing the main thing, and don't fix it. It ain't broke, man. That's pretty much it.
You feel me? That's all you can do.
Yeah.
So I like that move for them, and I think that they'll definitely be a team that's gonna be one of the better teams out west. We'll see
for
what
years
happens,
to come. For years to come.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens with the rest of the roster, and also like just with the rest of the Western Conference teams, how in juxtaposition how they play. But I think that Minnesota has some winning pedigree that they are building for themselves, and it's only going to go up from here. It's only going to get better,
Yeah, it's only going to get better. Anthony Edwards is only going to get better too. He said, no one's outworking me this summer. Nobody.
There you go. Right.
Right. He's tired of coming up short with NBA Finals, man. Back-to-back years is eating at him. He's like, no one's outworking me this summer. I like that. I like that mentality. That's the right mentality.
Yeah, he needs to have that mentality, and I feel like if he locks in and focuses, then he can become that face of the league player that we all think he can become. So,
hey, we saw what he did last year. He worked on his 3-point shot. He led the league.
Yeah, so if he
threes made,
if he doesn't,
and three,
he can work on that.
He was balling.
He worked on that mid-range
3-point attempts per game. Bro.
He gets that mid-range game to the level of the guys that he
will be dangerous.
He's going to be the best 2 guard in the league. So I got faith. With the Wolves.
To me, he already is. He already is, bro. He's been the best 2 guard in the league since 2 years ago, or last year when he went. Last year, when 2023-24, that's when I think he took it. I
think he's the best offensive scoring 2 guard. I think Jaylen Brown's a better 2-way though.
Oh wait, no, not 2 guard. No. That's Shai Gilgeous. I'm bugging. What?
Oh yeah,
I'm forgetting.
Yeah. Facts.
Yeah, I'm bugging. I'm thinking Shai. Wait, no, Shai's not a point guard. I'm thinking. I had it confused. No, Shai's number 1. Anthony Edwards number 2. Shai's number 1. Yeah, I used to before Shai won this year, I had Anthony Edwards number 1 because he was his is going through. He was falling out of control, beating KD. I said, wait, I was like, Shai's a shooting guard. I'm like, wait, I was like, you know what? Nah, Shea's number one. And then after this season, Shea won MVP. They win the title, Finals MVP, breaking records, Mr. Consistent. I got it. I said Shea's.
I think Ant has the talent to be the best player in the league. It's just all about his focus. It's about him expanding his game to mid range, working on his motor. These are things that are workable and fixable, and he just got to stay. He's got to stay focused on ball, stay focused on the game. So I think Minnesota's got a bright future ahead of them, and as long as they keep building on that foundation, it's only up from here.
Exactly. Well, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it because I don't want to do any more Wi-Fi issues. Just been dealing with some of these, you know. Got to do what you got to do. Got to record in my basement. Oh, and gotta hurry up and finish this episode. It's connection issues here in the basement. I mean, but you gotta do what you gotta do. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you guys check out my guy Dylan on his Instagram's right there, Quan Solo. Check him out, follow his work. Chilling with Dylan podcast. Share, like, subscribe. My guy knows his sports, knows his culture. Make sure sport is free. Check him out. And I mean, you guys follow me on socials, DJ Hamilton 23. You'll see it on the YouTube video and stuff. But yeah, it's your host, DJ Hampton, DJ Sports Show, y'all. And I'll see y'all next time. Peace.
Peace.